Hello, everybody. I'm hoping you're having a great day. Today, I'll be talking about Charlie Kirk. And disclaimer, I disagree with him 100%, but I do not believe he should have been taken out the way he was. May he rest. The 10th and the 11th have been some very interesting days, to say the least. You have people bawling their eyes out.
This is such bullshit! I've never been so pissed in my whole life!
You have people making memes.
The devil works fast, but the people on TikTok shop work even faster. Holy cow, this guy's not even cold yet.
You have people cheering. You're having people like straight up trying to incite war.
White man, fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back!
That video is from a rally last night in support of Charlie Kirk, and that slogan is a neo-Nazi white supremacist chant.
It's all over the place, but I'm here to make this video to show how I saw Charlie Kirk, because there's a little bit of a divide. Some people saw him as a role model and a godly man, and personally me, I did not see it at all. He used his platform to spread hate and misinformation, racism, hate towards the LGBTQ, trans, minorities, immigrants, all the above, under the guise of Christianity. And I say that in quotation marks. It's more like white Christian nationalism. I'll probably make a video on that soon. And these are the clips on why I didn't like the message Charlie Kirk was preaching. Please take a look, and thank you.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
White, college, indoctrinated women will ruin America if we let them. They are brainwashed. They are completely indoctrinated. The worldview that is being uploaded to young women on a daily basis is hyper-narcissistic, hyper-selfish. I am the only one that matters. Who are you to tell me how I should act? And it makes them miserable. I do not know how to solve this problem. I am open to suggestions.
Do you think that there should be free school lunch for all children?
No.
Why?
Of course not. Because parents should feed their kids, not the government.
What if they can't?
Go get a job.
A child?
The parents should go get the job.
Yeah.
This is important.
I
don't
They
believe...
have jobs and they can't support their children there because the minimum wage is so low.
No, you are a temp, dude. Don't give me this stuff. First of all, this is really...
I want children to eat?
Of course I do. Show me a single child in America going hungry. Doesn't exist. Number two, we have churches, we have food shelters, we have billions, and it does not exist. We have a child obesity problem, not a child starvation problem in this country.
That's the type of guy he was.
The cloth, who says he is he's a man of God, does that sort of pattern of behavior, I don't think he should have a higher approval rating than Jesus. So how do we explain that? We explain that we have built this mythology around MLK in the modern era. Now, some myths are important, Jason. I'm actually okay with certain myths. I'm okay with certain people of history being larger than life and something we aim towards and something that we want to lift up. But we must be very careful when we do that. I think people that we lift up should be Washington, should be Lincoln, should be Jefferson, the actual founders of the country. Where MLK, in my personal opinion, based on every objective analysis, he actually gave us more race focus and less emphasis on character and conduct. Because here we are 60 years later. Do we talk about race less or more in the last couple of decades?
Your worldview is indecipherable from the KKK. So what you want is indecipherable because you are race obsessed. I am not race obsessed.
Crime, like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily... No one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian?
Why should I have empathy for a race? How is it the white man's fault that black men started to abandon the women?
It's a bigger problem.
No, blacks need to take responsibility for the women that they impregnate. America got less racist and the blacks got poorer.
because we started to subsidize single motherhood and pandering to blacks, saying you do not need to stay around with the women who are pregnant.
So you feel like us as a society has pandered?
Of course we've pandered to blacks. They're in every TV commercial. They get more privileges to come into society. They come into every college on preferential with lower test scores. You can't ever say anything negative, and yet we have to hear about how racist we are. How about you take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming the white man?
What the hell are you talking about? Why do people think a large majority of black people don't have a father in their lives? That's just not true. The idea that 70% of black children don't have fathers is a white supremacist talking point that don't make no damn sense. What we need to understand is that a single parent household and a person who has no father in their lives are two different things. I mean, if your parents decide to divorce and one of your parents move out, technically you be in a single parent household, but your father can still be in your life. And that's what a single parent household is. It's just a living structure. And that does not factor in the quality nor the quantity of time the father can have with their child. But even if we look at children who doesn't live with their father, statistics only shows that 44% of black children don't live with their father. Meaning that more than half of black children, 56%, do have a black father living with them.
Black Americans, about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans, about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is black. That's according to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates them? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly.
So blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word "so" is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
So blacks commit more crimes.
He's saying "so" as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word "so" to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
So blacks
Instead, he's making an illogical, racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have that data since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. I'll come back to that data in a moment. What's painfully obvious is that Charlie Kirk isn't interested in understanding the statistics he so carelessly misquotes. He's interested in making bad faith arguments. Something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact, black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations specifically. Black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then people like you have the nerve to parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose. Because to bring that stat into this conversation would make some people think. And that's the last thing a person like you wants.
The greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
Okay, that was a bold claim that abortion was worse than the Holocaust. I can't even describe without going in depth about the atrocities that happened during the Holocaust in Auschwitz and around that area. The Holocaust lasted for 12 years. And this was a time when Jewish people were subjugated to killing, forced labor, rape, torture, experiments, mutilation, all of the above. And you're telling me abortion is worse than the stuff that happened during the Holocaust? Yeah, that is a horrible take. On a side note, I want to talk about abortion real quick from my perspective. I think it's very strange that the government/state should have any ruling over another human being's body. For you people that are against abortion, you have to ask yourself, who are you to these people? Are you against abortion because your quote unquote religion says so? Because to me personally, I feel like I should not have any ruling over somebody else's body that I don't even know. There is not a simple one answer for everyone's situation. And who are you to judge? I'm going to leave it at that.
All the time, but I'm going to explain to you why MLK's immorality actually needs to be a part of this conversation. Because again, if your signature achievement is the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and there's an argument to be made that the alphabet mafia has piggybacked that and now is running roughshod over the country, that's where your sexuality, like, it comes into play. Like, and I say this transparently. When I lived a much more immoral lifestyle, I was for more sexual liberation, more freedom. I used to tell people, like, let the gays get married. And, and this is years ago, I let them get married, nothing you could do. And really, that was to make my sexual promiscuity more acceptable, or more like, I'm not really the problem. I just like to screw strippers.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So you're telling me this dude was like, I think the gays should be able to marry each other, But that was telling me more about my sexuality, I was just too busy strippers, But when I stopped, I felt way better, I believe gay people shouldn't have been together. And I'm glad that helped me out. Like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like, people are just telling on themselves.
We are being conquered and they are rubbing it in our face. Islam is steadily enveloping the West. Then there's a video of a TikTok that shows Shia Muslims celebrating Ashura in New York. The TikTok adds intimidating music to scare the viewer. But then the music stops playing. Wow. So scary. Look at all those brown people, Muslims, dressed in black, casually walking the streets of New York and holding up a banner. So scary.
This tweet is from a couple months back, from when Zohran Mamdani was running for New York mayor. And this tweet speaks for itself. It's just spreading hate. Like, there's no other way you can see this. If so, please enlighten me.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
These are my final thoughts on the situation. I don't think he should have been killed the way he was. That was very distasteful. And, good luck to his wife and children. It must be devastating what they're going through. And, these kids are going to grow up without a father, which is extremely sad. Here are my final thoughts on Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace, you propaganda pushing piece of